Okay, do you guys remember when I was totally obsessed with this Patrick Ta She's Seductive blush? Well, I'm still obsessed with it. It's a great blush, but it was discontinued. I think all of these full powder blushes were discontinued. Fear not, because Patrick Ta just released his dual blushes. So there's a cream and a powder in one in the She's Seductive shade. So I thought we could compare the two together. Pretty sure this has gone bad. So it probably needs to be tossed because it just doesn't look the best anymore. But the colors actually don't look that similar, at least in the pan. Let's do some swatches. So unfortunately, it looks like the new She's Seductive is not quite the same color as the old She's Seductive. So the very top swatch is the old She's Seductive. The two below that are the new She's Seductive, so powder first, then cream. And you can tell the old one has more of like a bronze undertone and the new one has more of like a red, almost terracotta undertone. As I was swatching the new She's Seductive, I was like, you know what? This looks really similar to Not Too Much. So I pulled that out to swatch it as well. So that's what the bottom two swatches are. So powder first, then cream. And you can tell they are pretty similar. There's a slight difference. Not Too Much is more of like a kind of like a coral nude pink, whereas She's Seductive is more of like a red terracotta brown nude pink. And Not Too Much also has like a golden shift to it. I have the cream on my blush brush. So that is a lot more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. Wow, okay, this is really pigmented. Holy moly. Okay, I'm just going over it with my powder brush to kind of like tone it down a little bit. I was not expecting that. Okay, now I have the powder. Okay, much more light. Definitely not as pigmented. I mean, my cheeks are popping though. Just toning that down a lot. Here's my final thoughts on these babies. So definitely not the same as the old She's Seductive. The old one was very buildable, very light. The new one is still pretty, don't get me wrong, but the color is definitely more pigmented, more rich, a little bit more on the red side, less of the nude side. Go in with a light hand if you're fair like me. I'm gonna use it more, get the hang of it. I mean, it turned out really pretty in the end, but kind of threw me off there with how pigmented it is. I still think for those fair-skinned girlies like me, go for Not Too Much. It's a lot less pigmented, a lot easier to work with. I think the color is better for lighter skin tones, whereas She's Seductive is probably better for those like tanned deep skin tones.